Sports Now, I'm Marky Billson, and every Friday at 1:30 I like talking to Josh Brown, and you like to listen to the Knockahoma Nation Host, and he likes what's going on with his Atlanta Braves. They have just acquired 3 relief pitchers, and dare I say, big-name relief pitchers. Former Tigers closer Shane Green, former Giants closer Mike Melancon, and Chris Martin from the Texas Rangers, who was having a successful season as well in middle relief. They are all becoming Atlanta Braves. Out are Chad Sabatka, A.J. Minter, and Jeremy Walker. Cynically, I say, boy, the Braves didn't lose from 82. They send down a lefty. What's up with that? But your thoughts on these trades of the bolstering of the bullpen, Josh Brown?
I thought they were super aggressive. I really thought that if he was going to do anything, it was going to be some small, minor things, and maybe he picks up some fringe middle reliever guy, like a Jerry Blevins sort of guy or an Anthony Schwartzak sort of guy. But no, he got 3 of the best relief pitchers in baseball, and taking on 100% of Melanson's contract, it says to the baseball community, I think, that hey, we're serious. We think that we actually have a shot at the World Series. And I think Anthopoulos went into the season with an inheritance of a great farm system, and he didn't really need to do that much, and he caught a lot of flack. As you know, this offseason, Liberty Media got a lot of flack for not spending money. Well, he didn't really need to do all the things that the Phillies and the Nets did. I think he put a time on it, and he said, okay, I'm going to give it till July to see what I have in these relief pitchers. And in a lot of ways, they have actually outperformed expectations, as we've talked about before. Luke Jackson, right? Chad Baca, Chris Tomlin. There's been some bright spots here and there, but it was pretty aggressive from Alex Anthopoulos just because he basically said, listen, I don't have time to wait for A.J. Minter to get it together. I don't have time for some of these guys to really figure it out. We got to win now. And the Braves haven't seen that attitude in a while. A lot of Braves fans are so used to little Band-Aids here and there, little fringe, washed-up guys in their mid-late 30s here and there to wait for next year. So Braves fans aren't really used to a guy going after it like this and, in it to win it now. So it's pretty cool. I think it was a great week for the Braves.
But, okay, now let's just contemplate this. Do they have the staff to beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series? That looks to be where it's going. I mean, I know the Cardinals are hot. I don't know. The Cincinnati Reds, who the Braves are playing right now, hey, they've got all this pitching, right? I mean, they pick up Trevor they're not going to be in the playoffs. Come on. I mean, I'm just throwing this out to be humorous or something like that. But it really does look like, okay, we're going to invite 5 teams in the playoffs. Maybe they'll do well. But there are too many teams in the playoffs these days. I said it. You don't have to say it. And it's going to be a 7-game series between the Braves and the Dodgers. So, do they have the starting staff? Did Max Fried in his 15-7 victory against the Phillies show you enough that you think that the Braves will have a rounded enough staff that they can go 6 innings every day in the playoff season?
I think the postseason really comes down to 3 starters, kind of in general.
I mean, it's not the old days when you put them out there on 3 days rest. Let's face it. But yes, okay, go ahead.
Sure. I think that, and I probably sound like a homer here, but I think that Teheran, Soroka, and Keuchel, and then maybe Max Fried is just as formidable as almost any rotation out there. Can they beat the Dodgers? Does that stack up against the Dodgers? I think it could. I think it's going to come down to those late innings. I don't know what I think about Fulte, right? Does Fulte come back as 2018 Fulte? If he does, that's like adding a new, trade, and that's fantastic. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, though. But I really think that Soroka and Keuchel and Teheran, those 3, you put them up against any team right now, and I think you got a serious playoff run right there. And then, Fried scared me, I think, his previous start, actually, before last night, just because his blister is so sensitive think he's being too careful with it,
Mm-hmm.
and his curveball wasn't really doing much. But I mean, yeah, he looks fantastic at the last start. So what do I know?
We're talking to Josh Brown of Knockahoma Nation. Great podcast that you can listen there. Former Braves minor league reporter, as a matter of fact, so he knows a lot of the guys coming up and such. One guy who came up and did very well yesterday, hitting a home run, is Adam Duvall, and it was necessitated that he come up here about a week ago when Nick Markakis went on, well, he fractured his left wrist. They've got him on the 10-day injured list, but I think fractured left wrists usually mean more than that. How long are you hearing that Markakis is out?
I've heard 4 to 6 weeks, but I think that it's going to be longer than that, especially, let's be honest, even though the Braves and the front office love Markakis and respect Markakis, what Adam Duvall's doing, if it is even like 70% sustainable, you know, you don't take that guy out of the lineup. What he's doing is fantastic. So if Markakis does come back, let's say in September, I mean, if you told me this a month ago, I would have told you you're crazy. But maybe he comes back at some kind of part-time role, because Adam Duvall is just, I mean, you don't take that guy out, you know. And he's made me eat crow, I'll be honest with you. I really didn't put a lot of stock into his AAA home runs this year. I kind of threw shade at him our last podcast, and right after our podcast is published, of course, Adam Duvall, you know, hits all the home runs, and I look like a doofus, which I'm fine with. But I think that he's really figured some things out. He's changed his swing a little bit, and he's cut down his K rate, because that's always been kind of his Achilles heel, is his K rate. So I really thought it was a fluke. I thought, oh, he's hitting all these dingers in AAA, so is everybody else, no big deal. Then he comes up, and look what he's doing, right?
Everyone is hitting home runs in AAA, but just to give you an idea, 29 dingers in 94 games at Gwinnett for this past season, so that shows you what it is. A 259 average, though, so sort of that Bryce Harper line and all this, but nevertheless, I'll give you, okay, you want the Marky Billson historic analogy that could happen for the Braves?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Milwaukee here. 1957, Hurricane Hazel and Bobby Thompson. Hurricane Hazel, by the way, was a guy who came up late in 1957 for the Milwaukee Braves. 100-odd at-bats, hit .403. They could not keep him out of the lineup. They became a platoon, I believe, with him and Bobby Thompson in the World Series. This is a little bit different because Duvall, of course, is a right-handed hitter and Markakis lefty, and it was flip-flop with those many, many years ago with Hazel and Thompson. But nevertheless, Braves won the World Series. I mean, you used to hear it. Last time the Braves won the World Series was 57, and he said, I don't care. That was in Milwaukee. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. You used to say that all the time. And if you were about 2 generations ago, I guess, and all this, but Ernie Johnson talking about his experiences with the 57 Braves and all that on the broadcast. But nevertheless, that would be maybe a comparison from the Ghost of Braves past to the great Ghost of Braves future. How many days is it again to Christmas? Anyway, here we are. But anyway, there's the analogy right there that I will get. But no, I mean, Markakis can come back and all this, and by that, you say you can't keep Duvall out of the lineup. But who's to say that then Markakis can't help? You want to talk about Ghosts of Braves past in a, say, Francisco Cabrera type way. Coming off the bench, that sort of thing. And especially if there is a fall classic and you need a DH. Anyhow, that is the thing, though. I mean, I said these deals probably make the Braves one of the top 4 teams in baseball right now. I put them with the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Astros. Astros became the first team to win 70 games. And now I'm hearing Braves-Astros World Series after everybody thought, okay, it hasn't happened in a while, but Yankees and Dodgers, that would be fun. Do you think that now the smart money says Astros and Braves, or is the smart money still Yankees and Dodgers?
Oh, Lord. The smart money's probably Yankees and Dodgers. That's the smart money. But I think a Braves-Astros World Series is likely. I really do think that. And it'll all obviously come down to the Dodgers. Can the Braves beat the Dodgers? And you gotta play by their rules. I think when you're the Braves, you got to go in there and be super aggressive and hit the long ball. on the internet, but, you know, you got to hit dingers, you got to go toe-to-toe with them and just hit the long ball and be aggressive and score some runs. Obviously, with pitching, you got to just keep the ball down on those guys, too. But I think it's a fun time to be a Braves fan. You know, Braves fans out there who have kind of gone through. The Atlanta Braves haven't won a postseason series since 2000. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's 20 years, and you don't really realize that. I think just because the 90s still seem like it wasn't that long ago, and there's this you just don't think of the Braves being that bad for that long, but it's true. And so a lot of our podcast followers on Twitter are, 18 to 23 years old, and they don't remember what I remember, you know what I mean? So they remember, like, Rick and Keel, And so it's kind of fun to watch them experience this type of promising team. Well,
now you have something else that you can give them with Hurricane Hazel and Bobby Thompson. Now, they're going to have me on, and I'll talk about Hugh Duffy, for crying out loud. That's a little bit, and anyway, that's when I go nuts. Anyhow, we're talking to Knockahoma Nation's Josh Brown. We're going to try to keep it contemporary because the Braves now have a legitimate chance of being a real contender this year to win the World Series. Maybe not the favorite, but I think one of the top 4 teams. All right, and I think that, smart money, if not the World Series, maybe not there. I'm not sure I agree that with Clayton Kershaw going for the Dodgers, they're not the favorite. But I will say that, yes, bullpen has just been picked up. And, certainly a favorite, in my opinion, to go to the National League Championship Series. You mentioned they hadn't won a postseason series since 2000. Well, this may be the year. 19 years. Wow, that is a long time for the Braves. Tri-City Sports Now. Don't make it a long time to go to Asian House. Hear from them now. Okay, now, can you stay with me?